I was just diagnosed with osteoporosis. How do I do a low impact method that's actually going to increase bone density? Well, you've landed in the right place because Pilates does all this. Exercising for the people over 50. This is where usually things start to change in life. People have had injuries, they've had accidents. For women, there's obviously the big part of their lives where they have had children, so they've had to let their body change to then recuperate their bodies. Obviously, also at a time where life gets busy and jobs are busy, so they don't take that much care of themselves, only to find that years later they really are struggling to get back into fitness. So all this to come to the Pilates and why Pilates is such an amazing method. Amazing method because it's a mind, body and soul method. Your mind and your body are having to put more effort into figuring out how am I going to get over the frozen shoulder I had 2 years ago, the car accident that I had, the surgery I did, which left me much better because I needed the surgery, but my fitness levels really suffered from it. I was just diagnosed with osteoporosis. How do I do a low impact method that's actually going to increase bone density? Well, you've landed in the right place because Pilates does all this. From a visual point of view, this is where today I'd like to start because I think you are watching this, so you will see I am with a bed here, a bed that is the average height of hip for human beings. So for me, sitting down doesn't cost me any effort. So straight away as you walk into a Pilates studio, you don't feel constrained into moving because we are making everything for you to move better. So we're on the Cadillac. I will show you straight away one of the thousands of exercises that Joseph Pilates devised. You also see that I'm holding a bar with springs. The springs gives me only the resistance that I can give it. So, for instance, to compare it with something, if I was in a room where I had weights, I would have to be carefully choosing the weights as to not injure myself. So, the rollback, very classic exercise that everyone does. Why? Because Joseph Pilates believes that the health of the spine is the most important, and it is. You cannot put too much strain on any joints in the body if the spine is not happy. So a rollback exercise would be one of those where you see me moving bone by bone going down and then coming bone by bone back up. Okay, so that is obviously a much easier way to try and do something when with your spine, knowing that the spine right now, I gave it a frame to work with. Okay, so moving on. Here we have the spine corrector, as the word, spine correcting. So why would you use a spine corrector? The one thing that we lose as we get older is the mobility in the spine to move. So, I want to move my spine, but I'm at home and all I have is my bed and I'm a little bit apprehensive about starting moving my spine. So, something like a half roll back here already gives me the proprioception. So, proprioception is feeling in space how I move. So this is where the mindfulness of Pilates comes into action. By giving me a platform that I feel, I know for sure that as I'm rolling back, I'm feeling bone by bone sequentially going down. So I like it. I want to do it. I'm not afraid of it. Other thing is, if I have a platform that I can slide on, then for me, it is probably going to be much easier to bring my knees to my chest, enhancing my flexibility, but also giving me a platform that for me works for my stomach. I am now in a position much easier than if I was to reproduce this at home in my living room on my floor. So I want to do it. I approach it from a place of, oh, this is steps, baby steps towards a bigger picture. So this is where Pilates really does a wonderful job. And of course, there are thousands of things you can do on this, but let's just be a bit more succinct. Okay. I have a shoulder injury and I want to move my shoulder, but again, I'm afraid I don't know my body, so I need guidance. So I'm going to lie down and I'm going to pull this bar towards me and over my head. The fact I have this floor as a message tells me I can work the stomach really well, holding it whilst moving my shoulders. So not jeopardizing my shoulders whilst moving arms and injuring my lower back. So this is again one of the benefits. Before I forget, let's not take out of the equation of Pilates the most important aspect is the core, or the powerhouse of Joseph Pilates called it. Of course, if you are aging, which we all are, and you know, cannot do anything about it, the abdominal cavity really is the center of control of all the limbs. So working in an atmosphere where you are really specifically working the abdominals is going to make sure that you age really well, because things like reaching for your curtains, opening your curtains, playing with your grandchildren, all these actions of twisting, driving your car, checking your blind spot, all these things are also flexibility related, but center related. So this is why we know as Pilates instructors or teachers that this method has no comparison, and you really would do very well from working with us. Now, I'm going to take you to the reformer. We were talking a few seconds ago about osteoporosis. So you are in need of enhancing your bone density. So you want to, maybe I'll do some jumping. Oh no, because that doesn't work with my back, hurts my back. So here, Joseph Pilates devised a jump board. So although you are not weight bearing, you're already doing a strengthening method for that bone density. Okay? Not only that, as you can imagine from watching me, you will start to raise your heart. So for those of you who say, oh, I used to love running, can't run anymore. I tried skipping, even the skipping didn't work. There you go. You are doing your jumping. There are many, many, many benefits of taking on Pilates. Of course, you can take it on mat work, which is another form of the method, which is just exercising on the mat. But please be aware, from what you could see, having already put myself in positions easily because of the aid of the equipment, the fact of having these equipments is going to be far more beneficial, notwithstanding the fact that if you are on a one-to-one basis with the teacher, every single thing that you do will be visuated, will be adapted to the millimeter, and it is a way of controlling your body, trusting your body, moving on, and it mindfully as well, you are moving your body, so you trust it 100%. I hope this video has been useful, and I hope to see you here. Thank you.